We have a very special person in front of us right now. The artist, you could call him Batman. Some might call him Wolverine. King of the North, you know this already. Be inspired. How can you not be? Mr. Bugzy Malone in the building.
Yes. What's that?
Of course, I got to do it proper for you, bro. What's going on, man?
Gassing me up too much. You know, that was too much.
It's because I'm glad to see you. How are you? What's happening?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed, brother. What about you?
I'm fine, thank you. You look like you're good. You look shining right now.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah. What's happening? Obviously, album time. It's about to get busy again.
Oh, it's been busy.
Yeah, okay.
We stay busy. Do you get what I'm saying? So this is just the point where people get to now eventually hear what it is I've been, you know, the message I'm ready to pass.
Let's talk about recovery, because you had some ups and downs on your recovery, what we've heard through the music. What was it like recovering and then taking the setback in recovery in terms of the blood clot and stuff like that?
Oof. Just like that got a little bit spiritual, because then I kind of felt like there was a message in the crash, and I didn't get the message. I'm stood in the mirror, like trying to shadow box the minute I can put weight on my leg again. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm in my head already planning to come, like, bounce back. I'm thinking I feel mentally strong. I feel like physically like I'm gonna recover well. And then one day my foot was swollen up, and then I was like, okay, so I had to go back to the hospital. Okay,
so you'd come out at that point.
I'd been out for
and then you're back. Oh, so you wasn't in the whole time.
Yeah. I'd been out for about 3 weeks, and I'm at home and I'm chilling, and I'm walking around the kitchen, you know, the middle bit of the kitchen. I'm doing laps around that, you know, just to try and walk again, you know what I mean? And I see my foot was swollen up. I went back in. Every time I went to the hospital, it was bad news. And they was like, okay, so you've got a blood clot in your calf, but blood clots ordinarily don't travel if they're below the knee. So we're not going to do anything to it. I was like, all right, cool. So you're thinking I'm sat here now with a blood clot. A day, 2 days later, it's, you know, my chest was hurting.
In hospital or out of hospital?
Out of hospital, because they don't keep you in.
Okay.
I'm on the floor trying to stretch it out. Because I come from the sport of boxing, and in boxing, if you have a cold, you get to the gym and you sweat it out. If you're injured, you try and get in as soon as you can and you stretch it out and you do some light work, keep it warm. So I'm on the floor trying to just stretch it out, but it was getting worse, you know. And I thought, I'm going to sleep. I couldn't lie down. When I lay down, I was getting a crazy pain. So I had to, like, sit up, sleep. When I woke up, it was getting worse. And I had a suspicion I had a blood clot in my chest, because I've heard what blood clots do. And then I went back to the hospital. And then I was sat in there, and I just kind of knew, like, there's a bad problem here. I went to sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, it must have started travelling and getting closer to my heart, and that was like, you know, that's when you learn who you really are.
Okay.
In a situation like that, you get to understand yourself.
You've been always open and honest with your fans and stuff. How important has that been in the making of you?
Quite important, because my family situation was a shaky one. So I feel like as a man, when you meet a strong woman, a good woman, you know, it can really change the game.
Growing up, like you mentioned your family situation growing up, but when you stepped into this side of things and sort of the fame, the success, the music, the films, have you gained any new sort of role models along that side of things? People that you can look to and be like, I respect that. Like, I would not like to emulate that in some sort of way, but yeah, I respect what they've done there. This is who I am, sort of thing, moving forward. Has there been any of that?
Since stepping over, or before and now? Before and now?
Yeah, so before and now, like, how have your role models sort of changed?
Is when I was young, gangsters was running things. That's the way it was. And he was making money, and he was well respected. And I was stumbling up across a few difficulties, problems at home. You know, I got stabbed quite young. I got stabbed when I was about 12. So, you know, it was started to look at gangsters and think they've got all the skills and attributes I'd like to possess. So they was my original role models. And then you grow up and you start seeing that world is a little bit small, and that we've missed the heyday. The heyday of being an armed robber and going to the top's gone. The heyday of being a trapper and going to the top's gone. So you must adapt, you know. So I gave it thought, and I adapted, and then I started to look more towards businessmen.
One thing I wanted to ask you as well, and I think this is sort of inspired by your song with Emily. There was one line you said in there, I think, the politics of poverty. And I thought that's like a big thing that can sort of be explored. So what does the politics of poverty mean to you? What's your experience of that? And how do we solve that?
How do we solve it is a deeper conversation. The politics of poverty are rough. You know, it's a difficult situation to navigate your way through. It swallows a lot of people up. Because normally if you're born into poverty, you're born into a family situation where people are dysfunctional. It just gives you dysfunctional traits straight away. And then the challenge from there is to be disciplined enough to break the dysfunction that you've got running through your veins. You know? And that's that. You know, the game's changed now. It's 2021. You know, and I'm one of the pioneers of that. That this is the new gangster. You know, sat doing what you're doing is the new gangster. And we're only the baby versions of it. It'll be another 10 years or so until we see the Don Corleones of it. But this is the new route, and it's ownership. And to get ownership, you need to start working somewhere. So for people that don't necessarily want to get a job because they see getting a job for geeks or whatever, where do you start when you're on the road? I was a runner. I had to go shop for people. You got to build your way up. So it's something I'm quite passionate about. And people that are in poverty, I just have an investment in them people just because that's where I came from. So with this album, there's a lot of my philosophy on the way I think, and how you should be thinking if you desire to escape poverty, you know?